I know there's alligator farms here. That's something that's sourced locally. Of course, coffee, cashew nuts. What are some others? What are some other like raw materials? Chocolate, Maison Marou.
Silk.
Right, silk.
Hi, welcome to the Voice of Vietnam Manufacturing Interview Series. My name is Chris. I'm a sourcing expert that's been living in Vietnam for the last 10 years. Today, allow me to introduce you to...
You've been here for 20 years and you've seen how Vietnam has evolved. Would you say that they're just now coming of age with respect to being able to produce their own fabric locally, and that there's a big investment and push in order to qualify for free trade agreements?
For sure. I mean, they have no choice. Now the free trade agreement requires them to have the fabrics either for Vietnam or Korea, that's in for apparel. But you don't have to forget there's a lot of other categories of products in Vietnam that we don't always take into account, but they also need raw materials. So electronics, house goods like washers, coffee machines, blenders and so on. All these were already produced in Vietnam, but mostly assembled from parts imported from China and other places that now even they are subject to the same rules. So it's generated a whole new
business opportunities. The demand is there.
Sure. And initially in apparel you had a lot of knit fabrics. So there was a shortage of local woven fabrics. But even that now, you have large mills setting up, very large mills setting up.
Doing shirting fabrics and
the heavier ones.
Grade, woven 600D Oxford for backpacks, like you see here. And one thing I've been trying to source is PU, PVC, and TPU coating. I mean, it's easy to go down the market and find a wholesaler that's importing them from China. But then the next step is finding a supplier in Vietnam that does it. And I found them, but they're not mature in the sense of being able to do all three different types of coating, and their technological know-how and equipment is just really basic. So if you need something of a super high standard, or if you want something that's of a lower standard, they basically they have their standard. This is what they can do.
Well, the thing is, cost-wise, it's still cheaper to get it from Korea. And Korea, you do benefit from the same conditions as if it was fabric from Vietnam. So, for all these more high-end fabrics, Vietnam can't compete. Then setting up a factory for that here is not competitive compared to the factories that have been running already in Korea. So that's a little bit of a problem. So people are sticking to Korea, keep the business in Korea. It's also because it's mostly the Korean investors who prefer to whatever they can keep, which is a low not labor intensive manufacturing in Korea, and move all the labor intensive manufacturing into Vietnam.
Makes sense. That's one of the reasons why backpacks are so strong. And outerwear jackets. For fun, talking about raw materials, I want to throw out some that are on the top of my mind, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually noteworthy. For example, alligator skin.
Do you have questions about producing in Vietnam? Join one of my live webinars every Wednesday, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, that include a 20-minute question and answer session. Links are in the description below.
I know there's alligator farms here. That's something that's sourced locally. Of course, coffee, cashew nuts. What are some others? What are some other like raw materials? Chocolate, Maison Marou.
Silk.
Right, silk, exactly.
Silk is very big in Vietnam, actually, historically. But again, they're more doing the traditional silk, which is not as smooth or soft. It's a different kind. It's a bit rougher and stiffer. Of course,
the dragon fruits, mango,
rice, seafood.
Yeah, seafood.
Very big in seafood.
Yeah, cotton, not so much.
No,
there's almost zero cotton.
It's imported from India and the US.
Although I will say, if you look at it just from the manufacturing perspective, there are spinners.
A lot.
Yes.
Massive, beautiful setups.
Yes, and they're even like importing the cotton, Supima cotton from the US, spinning it here, and then re-exporting it back to the US.
Correct.
Wool, I just met the Dalat worsted spinning factory in Dalat.
Yeah.
What other raw materials easily accessible? Cowhides? No, I mean they don't have huge cow.
They have some leather. They have now I think a Ford tannery in Vietnam.
Ducks for the down.
Yes, for the down. Yeah, sure.
And then I think they also, is there duck leather?
No.
Okay.
Not duck leather.
What else? Isn't there something else that the ducks, besides their down, Well, meat, duck meat.
Yeah.
You can get it at local restaurants.
But it's not exported as far as
not
I know.
exported. Okay, good. So let's see, what else?
Things, now there is some organic linen, bamboo fabrics.
Using the regenerated cellulosic fiber, starting off with the wood pulp or bamboo pulp.
Yeah.
And Teiki, Century.vn, they're a spinner. They do both drawing the polyester and spinning it.
Okay.
So they...
For recycling.
Yeah, so they import bags of plastic pellets, basically, PE or PP, and then they melt it or smelt it and then extrude it and then spin it and make filament or spun polyester.
Thanks for listening. Is your business struggling due to delays out of China or quality control issues in India? When is a good time to get on-the-ground advice or factory introduction from an expert in Vietnam? Schedule a one-on-one chat with me or let's meet for coffee in Ho Chi Minh City. And remember, thoughts are things, and where there's a will, there's a way.